here. So let's gather around. Again, we're on this side here. We were setting up the stage on that step over there, nice and clean. I've been here 4 times scouting this place out, and they told us that we had to move in here. And the reason why is because we're compliant. Antifa may not be, and that they may gather over there. So it is what it is. But I've been here 4 or 5 times scouting it out. I had a schematic thing with the stage up on that platform like we always have them. Why they put us here? It is what they say. It's for our own safety, and we've I guess we've got to leave that. It is what it is. But these guys have done a good job. Everybody's done a good job. It is what it is. It is what it is.
We're pissed off and we just got here.
Never mind. It is what it is. Hey, we never even. Apparently, the stage isn't even allowed. No, well, we have them over there. There's no doubt. They would have access to it. Hey, listen, I had a stage. I had skirting, which is on there now. I had a backdrop 8x8 with United We Roll, and they wouldn't let us. They say that could be a weapon.
Boo, Trudeau, boo.
We were ready.
Probably directly from Trudeau.
Oh, share it everywhere you can.
Yeah, but I mean, where are you?
And also my personal page.
Okay. All right.
Oh, can we test the audio?
Trudeau's gotta go.
Run.
Trudeau's gotta go.
Hey. No, that's me.
Sun's out. This is embarrassing. Well, your fault, not mine.
What's embarrassing?
It is what it is.
So he says if there's time and if there's room, I can. If there's time, there's room.
Let's get a hydrant and pack all this snow.
I'm just going to test some stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
Snow plow for the wheelchair. Just a second. Hey, my big
Couple of big guys over here.
Couple of big guys. Heads up, boys.
What the heck are they doing?
Okay, help her. Yeah, it's wild. We couldn't even get a shovel. We
Are they
asked for a
bringing the
shovel.
lady in the wheelchair into the snow?
Yeah.
You have to be kidding me.
Yeah. Part of the story.
That's the government for you.
Yeah. Hey, I visited here 5 times. We had that stage set up right there all weekend. We were looking for
Yeah,
making
thanks a
signage
lot.
and such. Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
They're bringing the lady into the snowbank. There's 2 feet of snow here. She's on a walker. Come on, security. What's the matter with you? Tell you what, put that one Antifa guy over into the snow and we'll go over there.
That's why they wanted them, because they don't listen.
We love you. I got a space for you right here.
Security, you have to be kidding me. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Yep, I got him. All right, cool. There you go. Don't be yelling at when I'm talking to him.
That's the deal.
Mobile won't even show this. CBC won't show this. City News won't show
Never
this.
mind, they're our friends. Leave the media alone. Leave the media alone. They're here to help us. Spread the message.
This is unity!
Yeah, I'll tell you what we're talking about. We're talking about putting the good people that came here to Parliament Hill, making us sit in 2 feet of snow. You've got a handicapped lady in a wheelchair. She's got to sit over here. Enough is enough.
They don't care about the
We've been mistreated all of our life.
Can you take her slippers and beat the snow off of them?
Absolutely.
Let her speak. 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 Let her speak.
You're welcome, my friend. My name's Ron.
My live stream all the way from Madrid all the way here.
Where are you from?
Drove to Madrid by myself. I met the gentleman I've never met before. My daughter picked up. We went to Regina. We picked up another girl.
Isn't that awesome, Loretta? Yes?
They got on a ride and I jumped in with another gentleman. And now,
You're here. You're right here. No wonder you want to
And
be
no thanks to the government for making me sit up here safely.
Yeah, but she's got the best seat in the house.
Yeah, really.
Best seat in the house. Good looking guy on stage like me. She's blushing. That's not cold. That's blushing.
You old sweet doctor.
That's an ice cube. All right, you go ahead. Do what you need to do. Can everybody hear us okay?
Just remember, the media does not control the people.
Yeah, but the media's our friends today in this bullpen, please.
Absolutely.
They're getting a message out across the country. We need to be friends with the media in this bullpen, please.
All they said, do you want us to go? As if, they control us.
Anybody got another seat for Loretta? My eardrum's sore. Yeah, over your head. Let me see this. Let me see this, Loretta. I don't need this. I could talk louder than this.
Me too.
Here. No heckling. I control heckling. Very well. All right, again, the reason why we're here and not there is because of safety reasons. I literally spent all weekend with my graphic designer doing me a favor, even working Monday to get a big backdrop, 8x8 back here with United We Roll on it. We were going to get everybody to sign it. It's out by the street. They wouldn't let us put it up.
What happens if we hold it?
You can hold it. Here, let me see that. Let me actually see
you know,
that.
at one time, Canada didn't need all the safety. We used to be the safest country in the world. We used to hold our heads with pride. We didn't need
Thank you.
half police. We were peacekeepers. Now today, where they're worried about us having safety, so they're taking our freedoms and that away. We used to have free roam of the country. We were free. Freedom for treason! 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 Let's get them out now! Stop the bulldozer!
Pictures of that.
We were peacemakers.
Grab them. I need pictures.
Okay.
Get the corruption out of Canada!
There we go.
We want the truth!
Panorama coming through.
You're quite the firecracker, Loretta.
Like a phone.
It's Canada. The people are hurting. And we are uniting. And we're taking our country back! And we've done this ever since we left Red Deer, Alberta! We've been breaking the barriers!
Where are you from, Loretta?
Right now I live in
little bit of a rule. This is my stage, young lady. Careful. You just relax, 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 relax. I'm gonna have to give you resuscitate you for crying out loud. My stage. My name's on this contract for the stage. Yeah.
Another contract.
He came with you, Glenn. That's Loretta from Saskatchewan.
But the Alberta side and the Saskatchewan side.
The world's going to get together, right, Glenn?
We're going to get together tonight. Correct.
This is about the people of Canada. United.
Yeah, right here. Quarter to. We're going to start in 10 minutes. We're going to start in 10 minutes, folks, so gather around, stop that stove, it is what it is. I'm going to explain what happened here in a minute.
Yeah, we weren't peacemakers, we were peacemakers. I lost two great uncles fighting for Canada in World War I.
Mine's already come around there, Glenn. Mine's come around. So again, we got to be respectful for the media, folks. They're spreading our message coast to coast. So let's have respect for these folks, please.
Okay, and private is surgery in there.
Look again, lied to again. We are the media.
I remember back in 1970, this country used to be so safe. Me, at 13 years old, hitchhiking coast to coast.
Yep. We never locked our doors. Hey, Rod, are we going to start without Canada?
Gotta get the truth out. I'm getting the truth out.
No, this is my stage. Yeah.
There we go, it's our state.
Rod, are we going to start without Canada?
Yes, we are. We're all gonna sing it too. We're all gonna sing okay. We gotta get the spirit going.
Yep.
We're gonna do it and start in 10 minutes, folks. 10 minutes.
Can you hear me now, Justin?
Fine. You got the others close by? Yeah. He's up there. He's on first, and then yourself. Glenn, you should go first after me. Just to welcome everyone. And then you come on after.
Nickelodeon people. Help with the clippings.
Is it? They'll block it.
Oh, it might be better.
Oh,
No, they do that here. No, they do that here. Don't watch your phones.
Is it an iPhone?
Power to the people.
As far as I know, that's only.
Jay, how are you, sir?
As far as I know, they can only block iPhones. Just keep it in your
You live stream?
pants pocket so it can warm up. It's probably just.
Good. It is what it is. It is what it is. How are you? From CTV? I was with Henry Burris this morning.
Yeah, same thing happened to Stephanie.
Great guy.
It's just a circle.
Great guy. Thank you for your coming out. Appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead.
Too bad you couldn't put it across in
We had,
front of your
I had a backstrap being made. I had a skirt. This was going on the skirt in the front. They wouldn't let us do it. They made us take it down because it was a weapon.
Sad
It
day.
is what it is.
Sad day. You gotta work around it.
Not so much this.
I'm gonna put it on my tent here.
Actually,
Yeah,
that's not a
put it
bad
on there.
idea.
Stick it on there so we can see
Am I
it.
allowed to do that?
Yeah, you put it wherever you want. We beg forgiveness later.
Got that bungee. Can you do something with that bungee?
Yes, they do. Oh, it's a great little tour. Yeah. Welcome to Ontario. Ottawa, nation's capital. here. They got it controlled. Their dairy is that sensitive. But I did a speech probably a month and a half ago in the Senate. I was talking to senators about interprovincial trade. I have a problem with that. The Quebecers come into Ontario, take a lot of our work. And I've blocked bridges previously. So I'm a very vocal person about the...
It's not loud enough.
Not loud enough? Can you turn this up a bit?
Probably not without noise.
You mean,
Probably gonna get feedback.
just put it up. Why are you going to get noise?
Unity.
Go ahead.
Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me back there?
Oh,
You can all hear? Good, good, good. That's better.
And from YVC.live. We've been vlogging you guys, so last check your GoFundMe was up to I think 128,000.
yeah. I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
That's awesome.
We were even proposing to bring water, and that was not allowed. Bottles of water, we're just going to give them out to the people, or coffee or something. We couldn't. You have to get approval for everything on this hill.
It's funny, I asked Susan like
Yeah, but hey, it's showtime. It is what it is. You guys can all hear us back there? No problem? Okay. Anybody from BC here?
Hi.
Okay, you got BC. What about
Right up
Newfoundland?
at the front. We're just getting started. I need you up at the front.
Good.
I sent Mike back.
Do we have everybody from every province? Super. Super duper. See, the snow is getting flatter all the time,
Okay,
folks.
I'm
We got
on my
no
way.
problem. Let me know when you're ready to go, Mr. Carrot. Kathy is, or Haley. There's Kathy. She's going to do that. Now, I'll open it up and then we'll I'll open up and just say words on my behalf and then I'll turn it over to you.
I'm illegal in Quebec.
Are you? Awesome.
I came when I was 5.
Is that right?
My mother was almost refused because she had a shadow.
Shoot.
We were separated from my dad for well over a year. We drive me a river all crying about being separated.
Okay, let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome around. Come on in closer. We're just about to get underway. I'd like to welcome you to the nation's capital, Parliament Hill. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this story about being here. We wanted to be over there on the hill. We were setting up there. We had everything ready to go. We visited the Parliament Hill about 5 times, scouting it out. And by virtue of some of the counter protests that were coming, I was told we are compliant. The other anti-factions, they're not, so it is what it is, and it's showtime. Anyway, welcome to Ontario. Welcome to Parliament Hill. We welcome you all. I'm Ron Barr, General Manager of the Greater Ottawa Truckers Association. Welcome to GOTA country. I met Glenn about 5-6 weeks ago. We talked on the phone. He visited my house. He stayed at my house. I got to tell you, for Glenn Carrot and his crew from Alberta to do what they've done, my goodness gracious. Let's give this guy and his crew a hand. I followed them. Jay Riddell right here. Did live feed. The tears that were shed from coast to coast was amazing. The turnout, the thousands of people. These guys had a direct route. We had it all figured out. They had to stop many times because they were overwhelmed with people. That is something else. And again, Jay, wasn't it true? The tears were all over the country. So, without further ado, I'm going to get this guy off the phone so he can concentrate on you. But he's done a great job. Guys like Jay doing live feeds. Everybody honking. Parked on the street. We have done it very well here in Ottawa. So welcome. We've got some great speeches. Tonight, we're going to Rito Carlton Casinos. We've got 150 seats put aside. Let's go out and join them. We've got a great deal in the dining room. 2 for $1, 100 item, all you can eat buffet, $19.99, 2 for $1. Let's go out and meet. We'll be able to be in the warmth, and we'll be able to meet these guys with our coats and yellow vests, so whatever you're wearing today. But I urge everybody, let's be peaceful for the media.
Yes.
They're our friends. They're spreading the word
it's
around the
actually pretty good.
thousands and
It's
thousands
actually
that are
pretty good. People
interested
are coming
that
in.
couldn't make it here today.
It's actually not
Let's
bad.
be peaceful as well. We don't need any issues. We have a little bit of a tainted name. Let's not show that today in Ottawa. Let's be respectful. Let's talk, let's bring out the concerns. Let's bring out the concerns, but let's be respectful. So without further ado, I'm going to have Kathy lead us off in the singing of our national anthem, and I'd love everybody to join in because there's nothing more patriotic. And then we're going to hear from our organizer, Glenn Patriot, who again, carrying all of Canada on his back, and I'm pleased and proud to be able to support him. So Kathy, come on up. Okay, go ahead. This is Glenn Carrot. Let's hear it for Glenn Carrot. They got a great crowd.
Is this louder?
Nope, that's it. That's cool.
Get right in there.
You're loud.
Hello, Canada! Listen,
What's that?
there's obviously some mix-up of the steps. I apologize. I guess they were worried about all the
Yeah.
other protesters that are over on the other lawn. Maybe the camera crews could just go and have a look over there. So, this is Canada. We're the hard-working people of this country, and we've united this country by driving across it and meeting every single one of you. We met some amazing people all the way from BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario. They're coming from the east. We cannot say how amazing it was to see the reception and the thousands of people that met us on the road, and that's what Canada's about. And also, you know what? We're going to also show them what Canada's about, because we're going to stand in the snow and we're going to show them that we're going to be heard, even if it's in the snow. So we're going to make this work because our voices are going to be heard. They heard our horns coming up, and that's what's going to happen. We're going to take the country and make it what we want to make it. The politicians need to start listening to us. I've got a couple. I've got to go down there and fix a couple things. We're gonna sing "O Canada." God bless you. We'll be back. I'm gonna carry on.
All right, we're all going to join in and singing with Kathy. Go ahead.
Welcome everybody. And I am so honorably humbled to be here amongst you today. 2 years ago, I attended my first town hall. I'm not a politician. I've never been in politics. I seen a thing on Facebook that said that if you want to ask the Prime Minister a question, come down, register at Marianne Moncef's website, and you can get in. I tried 3 times. I registered in that website, and every single time I was told I'd get an email confirmation shortly. That email confirmation never came. The fourth time I registered, I got an email real quick and said, sorry, no room at the end, full. I showed up for a hydro protest out on the sidewalk that morning, and I was the only person that showed up that had the balls to make that sign and get out there. I was 2 hours early, and well, the rest is history. So whatever you heard in the media, I was not hired, I was not paid anything. It was just my lucky day, and today's the second luckiest day of my life. So to start things off today, I want to remember God. This is God's country, and I want to thank you all for coming today. I want to start with singing Amazing Grace. I'd like you to join in, and we're going to have a moment of silence. And during that moment of silence, please acknowledge 2 very special people. Last week, we lost a beautiful little 11-year-old, Raya. We want to remember Raya today in our moment of silence. And we also want to remember our Attorney General, because you know what? To me, she's Lady Balls Ontario. She has the courage to stand up. So Jody Wilson Rainbow, we're all with you today, Miss Jody. So without no further ado, let's sing Amazing Grace and go into 1 minute silence, and then we'll sing "O Canada." Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been here 10,000 years, bright
sing it.
The hour we first believed.
Here.
Now, let's reserve a moment of silence.
You're speaking. How appropriate.
Oh, Canada,
Everybody sing.
our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, thee true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
All right. Thank you very much, Kathy. Glenn, come on up here and lead us off. Kick us off.
Mark Friesen, are you in the crowd? Come here, please.
Don't make me cry.
Yeah, let's build that pipe! Listen, I'm not particularly happy with what's happening right here with our stage. So, but I want everybody's with us. I'm gonna go and check out. We might make a different stage on top of my fire truck, and but I want to make sure it works because and we're gonna load up some horns because we got protesters down there. We want to drown them out, but we're gonna have a couple speakers first. So just hang with us. This is us. We're gonna keep rocking and rolling like we always do. United we roll.
I'm going to get Jack McClaren. He's a local MP. Jack McClaren, come on up here. We're going to say some words. Our first, and Glenn, one of our first speakers. Come on up here, Jack McClaren.
Can I get across the street, guys?
Yeah, come on in, Jack McClaren. Jack McClaren's a good friend of the Truckers Association, a good friend of truckers, former MPP. Jack has been instrumental in helping me with the Quebec issues. He's put fairness is a two-way street together and such. So Here it is.
As Canadians, we're here as Canadians who are proud to be part of our natural resource industries. This country, which is supposed to be the best country in the world, which used to be the best country in the world, was built on natural resources, being oil number one, mining, forestry, and agriculture. Always was, is today, and will be in the future. So we're with you. I am a farmer here in Ottawa, so forgive me for that part. The Ottawa part, I mean, not the farmer part. I used to live in Alberta for 7 years, and I was there in the 70s with my wife Janet, who's over here, right over here. We went through that 1981 crash of the oil industry. I was one of the eastern boys who went west in the 70s to get jobs, because that's where the jobs were, in Vancouver and Alberta. And we were doing well until everything crashed. And we lost our job. I lost my job. We had, Janet and I were married, we had 2 babies and a mortgage, and no job. So that is tough. So I know what's going on in Alberta right now, in Saskatchewan, anywhere the oil industry is, and it's terrible. We have a huge supply of oil. The world wants to buy it, and we can't build goddamn pipelines because of Justin Trudeau. He should have received that message before now. I think he has. He's turning his back on the people that create the wealth that's built this nation, and will build it in the future. We get bills like C-68 and C-69, which are going to regulate us to death even worse than we already are, which are going to stop oil freighters from going up and down the BC coast to carry oil, and they're going to stop the offshore oil drilling in Newfoundland as well. Not to mention what they're going to do to mining and forestry and agriculture as well. So,
What country destroys itself?
right.
Canada!
So we are here today to speak not as Albertans or Saskatchewan people or Newfoundlanders or Ontarians, but as Canadians to tell our government that we are not happy with the government of Canada. We are not happy with Justin Trudeau. I want to tell you I was a member of provincial parliament here in Ontario for 7 years until last June, and I lost the election. So I have a good job again. I'm a farmer again, which I thoroughly enjoy.
Being a farmer, good farmer.
So I'm part of the Trillium Party of Ontario. I quit the PC Party of Ontario because I got tired of a party that was fearful and afraid to stand up for the people that they represented. And all they were trying to do is worry about how do we say whatever you need to hear so you'll vote for us, whoever you might be, instead of doing what was right. So I quit the PC Party because I refused to be told what to do. I would speak out for what was right, which is the people that have elected me, which is democracy. And I joined the Trillium Party, and for my last year at Queen's Park, I had the freedom to speak and vote the way I thought was right for the people that I represented. And I want to tell you, the Trillium Party of Ontario supports you, because you are the backbone of the economy of this country. Great to be here with you people. Thanks for making the journey, and we'll be here all day to stand with you. Thank you.
Jack is a great guy. Thank you, Jack. Jack, you coming for dinner with us tonight at the track, the casino?
Absolutely.
Good. And where's Janet? Where's your wife? There's one trooper. These guys have been very, very big supporters of truckers. One of the best in Ontario. So thank you very much. Our next speaker. Where's Mark?
I am right here.
Here is Mark Friesen. Mark, and you're going to introduce another special guest of yours, correct? Here you go. Thank you.
Try to stay out of the other media. Sorry, folks, we're just getting our live feed on Facebook also ready, because we've spent our whole trip taking the rest of our Canadian patriots with us. So I just want to make sure we're up and ready to go.
My feet are freezing.
Can you use
anybody lost a key, it's right here. It's a GMC, a key. Come and see me.
Hopefully not a truck.
It might be GMC. All right.
All right, folks. What a day to be Canadian. I want you guys to be loud when I'm speaking. I don't care if you interrupt me with screaming. Do it. That's what we're here for. We're standing here for you folks. We drove here for all you folks. Listen to that. So the first demand that I'm going to make on behalf of all Canadians across Canada is that we identify February 19th Patriots Day in Canada. This, right now, and I don't care if it's on any piece of paper, right now, as of now, February 19th is Patriots Day in Canada. So, my name is Mark Friesen. I'm from Saskatoon. I have a small business in Saskatoon. I actually worked for the government for 25 years in prison. So, I understand how government works, or better phrased, doesn't work. I'm just a prairie boy with a deep love of my country and my fellow Canadians, my culture of freedom, liberty, responsibility, tolerance, equality, hard work, hockey, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
You're an Ottawa country.
But it's interesting because I've never considered myself a patriot. I've never had to identify openly and loudly as a patriot. Of course, I've always been one. I've always felt it like the rest of us. We win a gold medal. I cry because we win the gold. So I'm a patriot, and I'm now a loud patriot. It's necessary for us to become patriots. And I was inspired to be loud and proud about being a patriot because of the individual that works in that office that we pay for, that we call Prime Minister. I won't refer to him by name. I don't believe he deserves the respect because he does not respect any of us. So when I refer to him, I will refer to him as Little Potato. Thank you to the Chinese. I'll tell you what really, the day where I woke up angry is the day when I woke up and I heard he say openly that Canada is a post-nation state. What? And that's coming from the leader of our country. Calling my country a post-nation state? We have veterans. We have veterans in our families that gave everything, sacrificed all for our sovereignty, for our nation, for our freedom and our liberty. Nobody, including our Prime Minister, is going to give that away. But we have to understand why he did that. It wasn't just some flippant remark. That was a message to his UN puppet masters. That's what that was. Now our successive governments, they have, since 1972, sold us out to the UN in differing degrees. They've signed on and been party to the Sustainable Development Agenda. Now that agenda is an extremely large document that has evolved into a behemoth that has created all of the policies that we're standing around looking at in Canada wondering, where is this coming from? For example, the carbon tax. How is a carbon tax applicable to Canadians? When you consider, they like to tell us that our emissions, our contribution globally is 1.6%. But that's before they count all the trees in our country, which is 318 billion, give or take a few million. We are a carbon sink in Canada. This scam they call climate change, this scam they call, and they're going to defeat it with carbon tax, is exactly that, it's a scam. They've convinced, with the help of the media, they have convinced many, many folks that we're going to do something by paying a carbon tax. No, we're not. Well, we are. What they're doing with the UN, backing from the UN, is it's part of the redistribution of wealth program that they've instituted on a global level. They are taking wealth from the West and they are redistributing it throughout the world. They've been doing this for years, for 50 years. And if it was something that was going to work, wouldn't it have worked all right now and we wouldn't have a migrant crisis?
It's called communism. It failed.
The fact of the matter is, it doesn't work because that money never sees the people on the ground. Now, while I talk about migrants, I want to make it very clear. This vest does not represent racism. This vest does not represent violence. This vest represents freedom. This vest represents sovereignty. This vest represents unity. We are a country of immigrants. We built this great country of immigrants. We want more immigration. We need more immigration. But we need to determine these policies in Canada for Canadians. Not some policy developed by an international body that has zero interest in Canada's best interest. In fact, they want us divided, as they've been dividing us for years. They've been dividing us by provinces. They've been dividing us by regions. They've been dividing us by issues. What I saw on this convoy from Saskatoon, where I joined in Regina, what I saw was unbelievable. The expectation I had was nothing in comparison to the reality of what happened. I seen thousands upon thousands of people sitting in my truck through my live feed, crying together while we're in the convoy talking to each other. It's about unity. But I want to say this, because I joined this convoy because it was developed and supported by the energy industry and the people that work hard in Alberta and Saskatchewan. That industry is under attack. That there's a reason why it's under attack, and people are losing their livelihoods, they're losing their homes, they're losing their families. It's crushing to the industry, an industry that Saskatchewan and Alberta depend on. Not only do we depend on it, the rest of the country depends on it. We need to fix what the problem is and go for the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the Sustainable Development Agenda and the policies created by UN and global governance. You cut that head of the snake off, we get our country back. All of it. Including pipelines built, including dumping the carbon tax, including getting rid of the migrant pact, and we'll decide. I have one more little bit here I want to say. I know I get carried away and I get rambling, but boy, am I passionate. Boy, is my patriotism burning. It's blowing up in my body, what this convoy has done. We need the rest of Canada to blow up. In love and in unity. So, this message is to the rest of Canada. We love you. But I want to say this loud and clear, folks. You may see a yellow vest rally and you may avoid it. You may laugh when the media makes fun and shames the yellow vest. You may dismiss the yellow vest as not to be, so you're not lumped in with the narrative and the labeling. You may be scared to support the yellow vest for fear of repudiation. But know this. If you love your country, you are a yellow vest. If you cherish your freedom, you are a yellow vest. If you want to regain, maintain, and protect your nation's sovereignty, you are a yellow vest. If you believe our Canadian culture of freedom, liberty, equality, respect, responsibility, and tolerance is real and worth protecting, you are a yellow vest. If you're tired and frustrated at establishment governments abusing you and your hard-earned tax dollars, very good. If you've had enough of our media and our politicians and our special interest groups dividing us, you are a yellow. And I know you good folks right here running the cameras, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about your co-workers, your colleagues. I'm talking about your bosses. Now listen, if you support our energy industry, if you support pipelines, if you support farmers and ranchers, you support our industries and our economy, then so the next time you hear someone in the media or some politician degrading a yellow vest, they're degrading you. When you see a news report that claims the yellow vest is racist, they're calling us all racist.
The media is racist.
There are many reasons for donning a vest and joining the movement, but for those who ignore those reasons and excuses, don a yellow vest, voice their concerns loudly and proudly, stand up to the shaming, the labeling. They're doing it for you and your children and your grandchildren.
And the future!
They're doing it in spite of the hate. They're doing it in spite of the labeling. They're doing it in spite of the shaming. These fellow Canadians are doing it for the love of their country and their love of our freedom. We are patriots. So on behalf of all and every Canadian patriot at this rally and across the beautiful, united and free country I'm standing here to represent, we want you all to commit to dumping the carbon tax. Get the pipelines built. Treat our energy industry along with all hardworking Canadians with respect. Denounce and reject the Migrant Pact in its entirety and give us our sovereignty back. Reject and denounce the Sustainable Development Agenda and back away from all agendas attached to it. And finally, withdraw from the UNSDA. Power of the people is stronger than the people in power. Long live Canada and her citizens. Enjoy your very first Patriots Day. I have one little bit to my speech. I want to invite a good friend of mine. I spent the trip coming up with him. Ivan, come on up here. Ivan happens to be an immigrant. Now I've been called a xenophobe more times than I can count because of this yellow vest. Well, I'm going to let everybody know that calls me that and has in the past two things. Two things. My wife of 10 years is an immigrant. She's not a Canadian citizen because the system doesn't allow her to be. It took her 4 years just to get coverage for health care. My wife is an immigrant. I love her to death. My good friend Ivan, secondly, is also an immigrant. He's been with us for 12 years. Give a big shout out to Ivan. Ivan is, as of 2 years ago, a Canadian citizen and a patriot. Ivan's sick, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, fellow patriots. so nice to see that you guys show up in such a huge
I'm
number.
Colleen Mack.
I just wanted to say, I came to this country 12 years ago,
You guys last night.
and after 3 days, I believe, I decided that I'm going to live here and make this my homeland. I decided to stay here. I got married here, got kids here, and there's nothing that I love more than my wife, kids, and this country. Saying that us as a yellow vest are racist, that's just not true. I'm an immigrant myself, and I can be a racist. I can't be a racist person myself. I just want to send a message here. All the people who come to this country, like I did, should respect this country, respect the Canadian values, Canadian way of living, and become a Canadians in whole. I'm not going to say anything else. This is all for me. I'm going to let the other people talk. So this was short and with an impact.
Thank you very much. Let's hear it for these speakers so far. Mark Friesen and this gentleman here. Welcome to Canada. You're an asset to our country. Our next speaker, all the way from Saskatchewan, is Senator, the Honorable David Turcotte. We used to have a, what was that hockey player?
Keith Kachuk.
Come on up, Senator. We really appreciate you taking the time. This is a fellow Saskatchewan. Let's hear it for him. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to welcome you to Ottawa. It's too bad that you got moved from the place you were supposed to be at and had to be here. I want to say to all of you, thank you for coming, and I wish all the MPs could see the people here who have traveled from all parts of Canada. I'm sorry I have to hold it so close. To all parts of Canada. I'm the critic on Bill C-68 in the Senate. I'm the chairman, and now it's in committee right now in the Energy and Environment Committee. I'm also the chair of the Transport Committee, which is handling that other abominable bill called C-48. And so, I don't know whether many of you had heard that Principal Secretary to Prime Minister Trudeau, Gerald Butts, had resigned yesterday. I think we can all be thankful for that. But if you noticed, or you may not have, but in his letter of resignation, he brought up the idea of climate change. And I want to just leave you with the perspective that I thought I brought to the Chamber in December in my speech, was that this is not about Bill C-68. This is not about Bill 48. This is not about Bill C-69. This is a clear attempt by the Government of Canada to destroy the energy industry. And with that, with destroying the energy industry, they will destroy, of course, the pipeline industry. So I know you've rolled all the way here, and I'm going to ask you one more thing. I want you to roll over every liberal left in the country. Because when they're gone, these bills are gone. Thank you very much. The very best of luck.
Can you guys hear me okay here? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jason LeBlanc, and I come from Estevan, Saskatchewan. And I am proud to be part of this deal here. This is a peaceful rally. It's a bit of a warning shot, is what we're going to call it. We want the Prime Minister to hear our message. This, the naysayers, they said it couldn't be done. The keyboard warriors all called us racist, bigots, and any other names they could think of as we made our way across this great country. The protesters tried to stop us just outside of Winnipeg. but our little peaceful convoy made it.
Yeah.
We're here. As I said earlier, my name is Jason LeBlanc, and I am here today as a fourth-generation farmer. And I'm standing here united with agricultural producers across Canada who wish to secure the future of our children and our grandchildren that is affordable and sustainable. There is a common misconception that those of us in the agricultural industry are uneducated. We are not. In order to be successful in the industry, we must possess management skills, marketing skills, and development traits that are closely related to those of veterinarians, crop scientists, agronomists, economists, meteorologists, climate scientists, and tradespeople. In fact, more than ever, we are highly educated, skilled farmers, and I am proud to be part of that collective. I am here to let all of Canada and Prime Minister Trudeau know that farm families and those who work in the oil industry are human. We work just as hard as anyone else. We pay taxes, we contribute to our communities, and we know what it takes to make the world go round. The contribution that agriculture and oil make to the overall well-being of Canada are immeasurable, and they create many benefits to other sectors, including energy, service, food, hospitality, construction, health, education, manufacturing, safety, distribution, and trucking, trades, everything, all included. I am proud of the relationship that coexists between agriculture and the oil industry. Farmers work together with the oil industries to allow access to the land for the purpose of drilling the wells. Once the oil is refined into usable fuel, the ag producers purchase it and use it to create sustainable food supply for our country of Canada. Thank you, guys. We have lots of farmer support here today, and I appreciate it. Agriculture does not exist without oil, and oil cannot be refined without agricultural land to drill on. My hometown of Estevan, Saskatchewan, we are known as the Energy City. We are proud of that claim. We are proud of our city. But Prime Minister Trudeau's policies have put a profound impact on our community. The state of uncertainty has clouded investment, killed jobs, eroded community support for programs, made it difficult for business to obtain and retain qualified employees, decreased property values, and turned people's dreams and hopes of an amazing life into a nightmare. Day after day, our industry continues to fall victim to the Trudeau government and their ridiculous notion that budgets will balance themselves. Bill C-69 and C-48, if passed, these bills will hinder the ability to extract Canada's resources from Canadian land through our highly regulated industries to meet the high demand and the ability to compete on a global stage. Our inability to do so to get these resources to market will ultimately reduce the national revenue, impacting all areas of Canada, from healthcare to infrastructure to equalization payments. Caught in the crosshairs of these detrimental bills will be the agriculture industry, which will face increased operating costs, taxes, and regulations, which will then see the unfortunate loss of farmers, and the rising cost will be passed across to all Canadians, rural and urban. The climate change, after going through more name changes than a government department, climate change continues to be the main force behind these bills of economic destruction. I am not a climate change skeptic or a denier. I strongly believe that the climate change goes in cycles and will continue to do so. However, I am a man-made climate change doomsday denier. All too often we hear the comment from the politicians and the media stating that 97% of scientists agree that climate change is real, yet they do not explain what it means. Alex Epstein from Prager University states that when we hear this quote, we need to ask two questions. What do the scientists agree on, and how do they prove it? He also states that we should be more scared of losing the proven benefits of fossil fuels because they are cheap, plentiful, and reliable, more so than unproven negative climate change accusations that they supposedly create. Let's not forget Al Gore. Al Gore and his global predictions. If those models had been true, I wouldn't be standing here bundled up in a winter parka, toque, mitts, and a Saskatchewan bunny hug. I would be standing up here in front of you in my flip-flops and shorts while reading this speech. He utilized fear to make sure that he capitalized on this issue. And he got rich doing it. Will Happer, a physicist and professor at Columbia and Princeton University, states, and I quote, "Aside from the human brain, the climate is the most complex thing on the planet. The number of factors that influence the climate, the sun, the Earth's orbital properties, oceans, cloud, and yes, industrial man, is huge and enormously variable." And that's the end quote. What this means is that computers cannot accurately predict climate change because there are too many equations involved to do so accurately. He gives the example that Hurricane Irma's path in 2017, which could not be predicted accurately 2 days ahead of real-time data being collected, which begs the question, how can we predict climate change decades from now? Happer also states that water, H2O, has a greater effect on the heating and cooling of the atmosphere than CO2. Moreover, the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change published in their third assessment report, and I quote, "In climate research and modeling, we should recognize that we are dealing with a coupled non-linear chaotic system, and therefore that the long prediction of future climate states is not possible." End quote from the United Nations. Citizens who believe in the idea of man-made climate change are quick to refute points with the first Google result that they find to support their argument. They do not take the time to research the entire issue and respond with independent thought that would support their facts. As farmers, our livelihood depends on being good stewards of the land that we love. We need to know weather patterns, plant disease, soil quality, and potential for drought and food and a flood, as our budgets depend on it. It is through this knowledge that we can all continue to provide food for Canada, successful and safety. The egg industry has been well ahead of this game in environmental issues. We as farmers, we have embraced zero-till, crop rotations, cover crops, GPS technologies, auto-steer, irrigation, precise farming, shelter belts, pest control, the list goes on. We have paid dearly for forced technological advancements in equipment to satisfy government regulations. Where is the credit for this? Our agriculture industry has been successful through these practices and have reduced carbon from the atmosphere. To the surprise of many, we have found useful ways to use CO2 in other industries. When will Mr. Trudeau and Ms. McKenna take note of these accomplishments and acknowledge that Canada is not the issue in climate change? If one truly believes that global CO2 emissions are the problem, then what really matters is results achieved by the top Then what really matters is the results achieved by the top emitting countries like China and the U.S. Ultimately, we all know that after taking a simple science class that CO2 is needed. It provides life for the plants and the living organisms. Life does not exist if it were not for CO2. After all, profitable greenhouses will pump CO2 into the greenhouse for plants that are later sold for food products. It is time for Canada to acknowledge what is happening. A culture of fear is being created through negative rhetoric in regards to the climate change, making way for the acceptance of a liberal ideology. Even though Canada is responsible for the said 1.7% of global emissions, we are all allowing Justin Trudeau to advance his personal agenda and future promotions at the cost of the agricultural, oil and gas industries, the future of Western Canada, and more importantly, the entire Canadian economy. Carbon tax is not a price on pollution, it is a price on industry. It is a tax on all Canadians, and we will pay dearly for it due to the out-of-control spending by the Trudeau government and the belief that budgets will balance themselves. The cost of living will increase dramatically. This tax will be applied to almost every product that I use on the farm, and this is how it's going to affect you. My local municipality fuel expenses will increase, so that means that I will pay higher taxes. My local leisure center heating bills increase, means I will pay higher taxes. My local grocer, hardware, clothing store, transportation expenses, everything you can think of in your community will increase, and it will make me pay more taxes. My local farm dealership manufacturers expenses will increase, causing me to pay more taxes. Your guys, my local health care and education services will cost more to provide, so that means we will pay higher taxes. The list goes on and on and on. Many questions are being raised based on Justin Trudeau's claim that this is a revenue neutral tax. How will the government rebate families more than they pay? Where does this extra money come from? Is this just a redistribution of wealth in a form of social welfare? We know that our country cannot afford the maximum price it needs to charge in order to hit the Paris Agreement targets, so why are we doing this? This tax will continue to put Canada at an unfair trading position and is forcing our industries and jobs elsewhere, where the environmental regulations are inferior to ours. This tax will not only phase out the fossil fuel industry here, but will also phase out the very standard of living that we are admired for around the world. The ultimate truth is that this tax mechanism is a place of a hike on GST. How do you ask? Every bill you receive from here on in, you will have a carbon tax. On top of that, you will have a 5% GST. How is that additional 5% that we are charged going to be returned to us? In the last little bit, what I'm going to talk about here is I'm going to bring some information that you just might not know in the East. My hometown of Estevan, Saskatchewan is home to the world's first clean coal carbon capture and storage project. According to SaskPower, since its inception in 2016 and as of the end of December 2018, the facility has captured 2,465,333 tons of carbon, which is the equivalent of taking approximately 616,333 cars off the road. That's just one unit in that short time frame. There are possibilities in Canada and around the world that we could take this technology, sell the idea, and enhance the fossil fuel industry, not shut it down. If industry is supportive, as Mr. Trudeau states, then allow industry to make the changes and develop solutions to meet the requirements that you have signed us on to. Taxing is not the answer. Mr. Trudeau, there is a movement rising against you and the so-called price on carbon, and it started in my hometown province of Saskatchewan. Now, Prince Edward Island, Manitoba, Ontario, New Brunswick, and eventually Alberta will join. Ontario once tried to be a climate change leader. How did that work out? British Columbia, who has chosen to enact the carbon tax, just received the devastating news report in the Vancouver Sun, January 2018, that with the tax applied, the province for the year of 2015 has seen an increase of 1.6% in emissions over the previous year. The tax is not an effective way to reduce emissions. For more proof, all you need to do is take a look at Australia. In conclusion, Justin Trudeau, Western Canada has always been an economic powerhouse in our country, but today we stand broken because of policies that are for the good of the globe, and that is your quote. There have been times in the past when Eastern Canada has had to rely on the power of Western Canada for survival, and we have always welcomed them with open arms because we are one country. The very resources which provided for a better way of life is now despised because of you. It is time for the narrative to change. Our industry is not a dirty industry, but rather one of black gold. The gold has been used to finance government spending for many years. How will we be able to continue to finance these areas when you are denying the use of Canada's natural resources? It is unfortunate that your government, as Rex Murphy puts it, devalues the things that count. You have set unrealistic climate targets. Even you have said if Canada shuts down all industry, it would not have an impact on the overall global emissions. You cannot announce policy changes to our energy and ag sectors without allowing time for the needed infrastructure to replace it. Miss McKenna states that your environmental plan will grow the economy and keep life affordable. How did that work in Ontario? Please do not confuse motion with progress. The tax is one that must continually be increased to hit unrealistic climate targets and will bankrupt industries as it increases. There is no end in sight. The ultimate goal is that you will have control over all industry, attempt to be successful with your urbanization plans and manipulate society through basic human needs and make the globe a one world government. Your solar panel, windmill, hydro plants, and electric cars are not 100% green as you claim. How are the chemicals mined for these solar panels? How are they recycled after they use? Where does the steel come from for the windmills that are made and the oil needed to operate them? Hydro plants are made out of concrete. What comprises concrete? Fly ash. Where does it come from? Coal. Ladies and gentlemen, the electric cars have lithium batteries, plastic bodies, rubber tires, all oil industry byproducts. Today is the day that we remind you, Mr. Prime Minister, that you work for all of us in Canada. We are here to let you know that carbon tax, Bill C-69, C-48 will be the ultimate demise of our energy and agricultural sectors, the very sectors that provide a large portion of equalization payments. This election in October will be the most crucial of our lifetime. It is imperative that everyone get out to vote. We need to make our voices loud. Volunteer for your candidates. Get out and make sure that Canada can move forward in all industries. It's time to put the grain on the train and the oil in the pipe.
All right, new rule. I'm vetting any speeches. Mr. Zimmer, come on up here and I want to see your speech. I want to prove it first. I think we got all soup and nuts. I don't think there's much you can have, Mr. Bob Zimmer. Bob is from Prince George, Peace River and Northern Rockies. And we want to hear, he's also the Parliamentary Outdoor Caucus member, so we want to hear about why we're standing in the snow. Bob, here you go. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me back there. Do we have anybody from Fort St. John back there?
Right there.
I see some back there. How about, hey, good to see you guys. So I'm from Fort St. John. I got my first job was actually working in the oil patch and working on pipelines. So I have first-hand experience about being in the cold, working at minus 30. We worked actually all the way to minus 50. But I just wanted to say one thing to all of you, first of all, is I think instead of being where you have to come to the government to protest to have a job, I think we need to thank you all for providing gas to our homes so we actually have warm homes to go home to. So thank you. And all those protesters, it's funny, I fly back and forth from Fort St. John to Ottawa every week, and I see a whole bunch of members of the NDP. I see members that are against oil and gas get on the same airplanes as I do. One namely, Miss Elizabeth May, and she interestingly gets on the same plane as well. And you know what actually fuels the planes coming from Vancouver to Ottawa? It's oil coming from the Kinder Morgan pipeline. So to get in that plane, she actually has to use a project that she's supposedly 100% opposed to. I just wanted to say thanks to you all for coming. I know I have a lot of friends out there. I love the horns, love the trucks. You're making a difference. You're being noticed today. We'll be back out in a bit. I have to go back to work in the house. We're dealing with a little thing called S&C Lavalin. Andrew just made a statement in the house, and I guess we're coming out here again in about an hour. So we'll see you again in a little bit. But I wanted to thank you all. Thanks to the organizers for really pulling this together. I know it's a great effort to really pull it off. And again, thank you all for coming. Keep up the good work.
That was great. Thank you very much. We'll see you in an hour or so. Listen to that noise out there, folks. Tremendous. I'm going to get Jerome, and then I'm going to get Jay up here. Jerome, come on up here. Say your story. Say your story.
My story is oil in the pipe, grain on train. Okay. I have a sign here that my daughter made me bring to Capitol Hill for Trudeau. My daughter is 12 years old, and that's the sign she made for me. My name is Joram Olwen from Weyburn, Saskatchewan.
I migrated to Canada in 23 years ago. Yes, Canada, we go! I migrated lawfully. I have been in Canada. I work in the oil patch. I run a business. If I tell you my story with a little bit of my story with the Immigration Canada. Immigration Canada used to be a very strict, very straightforward, and very lean. The reason why I'm here is because I went through the immigration process successfully. Out of 5 of us that migrated to Canada, only 2 made it successfully. The vetting, the security background had to be checked.
That's right.
And that happened at your own expense. You could not work. You had to go through the immigration process. No income. No government support.
Exactly.
What ticks me off is after 2 years of processing my immigration papers to try and be a Canadian citizenship, to get my Canadian citizenship, I could not get it. It took me 4 years. No, you could not work because you are not a Canadian permanent resident. And now, what ticks me the most is somebody can walk through the border. And guess what? That guy over there wants them to vote for him. No! No! Say no! There is no one in this world that can vote if you are not a citizen of that country. I love the oil patch, I love the farmers, I love Canadians, and that's why I became a Canadian citizenship. I am a yellow vest, and we stand for unity. I will, sorry, can we open this?
Take a picture of that.
That is true Canadianship brotherhood.
Exactly!
What are we looking for? Hey, look at this again. Get pictures of this.
Okay. I became a Canadian citizen in 2001 after 4 years of hard fighting. I had to take oath to be a Canadian citizen. You have to take oath. Trudeau does not want people to take oath. Trudeau wants to divide the nation. When I became a Canadian citizen, that is what I got. I'm gonna read it. As a Canadian, you must uphold the principles of democracy, freedom, compassion, which are the foundation and a strong and united Canada. Yellow vest, coast to coast, united we roll. You have made a difference.
people are stepping down. We want Trudeau to step down. If he does not step down, build the pipeline. And my last message is, I heard that Trudeau used to be a boxer. You heard that? I don't know. I never seen it. I wasn't in Canada. But I challenge Trudeau for a boxing match. That boxing match must happen in the oil patch or in a wheat field. If Trudeau does not comply to the boxing match, I know that is a worst. I leave you Canadians with that much, and guess what? The struggle just begun. Thank you very much, and hopefully that will make it.
My goodness, what a compassionate speech. Now our next speaker is Mr. Maxime Bernier. Come on up, Max, People's Party. Max, I'm going to hand you a pretty hot mic. That's a tough act to follow, isn't it? We're really pleased you're here. Maxime Bernier, let's hear it for him. Here, Jerome.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for doing that and for being here to protest. Because you're not asking for a handout, you're not asking for any privileges, you're just asking for being sure that this country will be able to build pipelines. That's important, not only for you, that's important for all Canadians. And yes, you're right. We don't need a carbon tax. We don't need the bill C-69. We don't need the bill C-48. And under our leadership, with the People's Party of Canada, we will scrap C-49. We will scrap C-69. We will privatize the other pipeline. So we need to have a pipeline that would be built by the private sector for you and for our friends from all over the country. So it's easy to say that. It's very easy. Justin Trudeau told you that you'll have a pipeline. Andrew Scheer is saying the same thing. And I'm saying the same thing. Who's right? Who's going to deliver a pipeline? We need a constitution! Yes, we need to use the Constitution. So, I said the same thing in French in Quebec. I said the same thing in English in New Brunswick. I said the same thing in English in Alberta. And now I'm telling you that. Yes, we need to do some consultation. But if we don't have any agreement, we need to use our Constitution. We need to use the Section 9210 and declare a pipeline for the advantage of our country. And yes, if we don't have an agreement with the politician in Quebec or the politician in BC, we will use the Constitution and impose a pipeline. Because Canadians know that it's first of all safer to build a pipeline today. It is safer for the environment. It is safer for the population. And Quebecers remember what happened 7 years ago in Lac Mégantic. We need to transport our oil and gas by pipeline,
and we need to use the Constitution if necessary. I'm asking you, ask that question to the other politicians who will come here, if they have the courage to use the Constitution if necessary to build a pipeline. Ask that question to Justin Trudeau, we know the answer. Ask that question to Andrew Scheer, he was not able to answer that in French in Quebec when they asked the question. And the journalist said to Andrew Scheer, do you think that you will use the Constitution to build a pipeline if Quebec, the politicians in Quebec are against that? He was not able to answer the question. You know, I'm answering that question. Our goal is to speak to our fellow Canadians and speaking about what is good for this country, for the unity of this country. We need pipeline, but not only that, we need to have a fair equalization formula. We need to be sure that it would be fair for everybody. If we want to unite our country, we need these two reform at the federal level, and I'm there, the People's Party of Canada is there to deliver that for you and for all Canadians.
BBC! 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 BBC!
Thank you guys!
I gotta give a little speech here. We traveled across this country, all the way from Red Deer, Alberta. I was the one in the lead with Angie. My voice is a little rough and I apologize for that, but that was from one absolute powerful movement that we were performing as we came across this country. We united Canada all the way along from end to end. We were able to unify this country as we walked across and drove across and shook hands with every little person, every child, every mother, father, everybody. And we had heard nothing but love and help from everybody when it came from getting across this country. And I'd like to say for everybody out here, this United We Roll Convoy for Canada was an absolute pleasure. It was my absolute honor to be up here with you guys and have the opportunity to get our message across that we need to unite this country. We need to take this country back. We need to allow ourselves to join and have our voices heard and exercise our political rights. And that is what we did. So for that, I thank you, Canada, for allowing me to come across, to get this voice, to get our voices heard, to allow us to invoke our political rights, and allow us to stand up for our Canadian Charter of Rights. This is our movement, Canada. We're making history. We're making this happen. The world is watching us. We need to act responsibly when it comes to this. We need to be the people for the people. This is a responsible movement, and it's a historical moment in Canada. So please, please, spread the word, get it out there. We are here to unite the country because this country has been told we are divided. Well, I'm sorry to say, Mr. Trudeau, I just drove across this country, and I am not united. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of followers as we came across this country. This convoy went viral as we were coming across. It was an absolutely amazing moment for Canadians to watch as we came to fight for you guys, to fight for America, the people that can't get up and talk for themselves, to fight for the oil worker, to fight for the miner, the lumberjack, to fight for every Canadian. I'm talking teachers. I'm talking... That is what we brought. Canada heard this movement move across the country. And they are listening. And they are following us. And they love every single one of you, and you. We are not divided at all. Ontario loved us coming across. It was absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, Canada. Thank you for letting me represent this convoy across the country. Thank you for letting me sit inside your homes all week while you guys are trying to do your stuff. I've been told that they haven't watched TV for over 4 days because it was absolutely phenomenal watching this happen. So thank you. I love you. I love every one of you guys. You know that. I've told you that 1,000 times coming across this country. I absolutely love you, Canada. And thank you for allowing me to have the opportunity to represent you guys here in Portland. Thank you.
Well done. Let's hear for this gentleman here. Great job. Great job. All right, Mr. Brad Tross, come on up here, Brad. Ran for the leadership. Not yet, Brad. Not yet. I'm on this show here. Anyway, Brad, here you go. Say some wisdom. Thank you. There, you got a big fan over here.
I'm Brad Trost, soon to be ex-politician and back in the real world. Thank you for coming here today. I grew up in a farm family in rural Saskatchewan. That unfortunately, the one time we moved to Alberta was right before the National Energy Program hit. So my family knows what it is to go through tough times. Farming is a tough business. It was for 20 years. So when I was getting ready to think about what I was going to say to you here today, I was reading a bedtime story to my littlest daughter. And it's a story from Dr. Seuss. It's called Horton Hears a Who. If you know the story, you know where I'm going with this one. Horton was the only person. He was the only person who heard the Who. He had big ears. He listened. But the Who's could not be heard by anyone else. They kept trying to have their voices heard, but no one would listen but Horton. Finally, at the end, every single Who in Whoville gave a final shout. And then, when they thought they were all exhausted and couldn't be heard, only then did people finally hear it. And that's why what you're doing here today is so important. Because we have to keep shouting so that someone hears. We have to keep shouting that the jobs tied to the oil and gas industry matter. That people who work in natural resource industries, be it farming, or fishing, or lumber, or oil and gas, or mining, matter. These are good jobs. They're important. We have too many people in this country saying if you work with your hands, you're not important. We need this pipeline to go through. We need pipelines to be built. Why? Because they allow good, hardworking people to earn a good living. That's all people want. To work hard, to pay their fair share, and to help build Canada. Thank you for what you're doing. God bless each and every one of you.
Will you let me speak? Perhaps. All right. Dane Lloyd, pleased to meet you. Where are you from?
I'm from Sturgeon River Parkland, Alberta, just outside of Edmonton.
So these are your folks.
Absolutely. Who are my Albertans out there?
Here, take that mic. Get them wild up.
Well, my name's Dane Lloyd, and I'm the Member of Parliament for Sturgeon River Parkland, just outside of Edmonton. And I was elected in a by-election in October 2017. I also serve as a lieutenant in the Canadian Forces, and I'm so proud to see all my fellow patriots here standing up for Canada today. Can I get a shout out? Yeah! Now, you know, I grew up just outside of Edmonton, and my stepdad's a truck driver. And so I know what it's like when this government puts a carbon tax on families. You're raising the cost of gas on truck drivers, that's getting passed on to consumers. And these truck drivers are out of work right now because we can't get a pipeline built to get our energy to market. And it's a damn shame. And we need a prime minister who's going to stand up, who's going to get those pipelines built. And I know who that man is, and his name is Andrew Scheer. He's our conservative leader, and he's going to get the job done. Now, my fellow Conservatives, we're in there in that House of Commons right now. It's your house. It's the people's house. And we're standing up for Alberta. We're standing up for Saskatchewan. We're standing up for all of Canada. Now, I always say, you know, my stepdad, you know, he's been a truck driver for a long time. And he always said, I don't think people in Ontario can understand what we're going through. And I always say to him, you know what? Ontario does understand. And we saw that with our Unite convoy going across the country, and who was there?
You know, meeting them at every stop in Thunder Bay and in the Sioux and everywhere across this country. Ontario is standing with us. The whole country is standing with us. They're standing up for our pipelines. They're standing up against this carbon tax. And hell, we're going to come for Justin Trudeau in October, and we're going to change this country. Thank you.
Hi everybody. I come from Estevan with Jason LeBlanc. We helped kind of put the Estevan guys into this convoy here, and it was an emotional journey. I can't even explain it. When we came through Saskatchewan, we were seeing all the people on the sides of the roads and people waving flags, and we thought, you know, Manitoba was the same. Once we got to Ontario, we didn't know what to expect coming in here, and we were trying to unite everybody as one. And when we come through here and see the people lining the sides of the roads and the flags waving, and through the evenings there was fireworks shooting, and I thought to myself, you know, we come across this country with thousands of miles to try and join everybody in here, and I thought, you know, I never knew these people 2 weeks, 3 weeks before this. You know, I talked to them on Facebook, social media, and all of a sudden now here we come across Canada, 2,000 or 3,000 kilometers, and to see this come through like this and how well organized everything was, and the communications between the radios and the guy in the lead, and the emotional part of it, I still can't explain it till now. But we took all these people that nobody knew 2 weeks ago, and we came across this country united, and that was the whole deal of this, is we're trying to unite this country. This isn't the East against the West. This is about all of Canada, and we got to get all our resources to market, whether it's oil or gas or anything else. And that's why we're here today, and I'm glad everybody came to show their support. You guys got to give yourself a round of applause, because we can't do this without everybody else behind us. All we are a couple hundred people coming through here, but to unite everybody in this whole country as one, that's what this is all about. So that's all I really need to say, other than united we roll. United we roll! United we roll! United we roll! United we roll! Thanks everybody for coming out. Love Canada. Patriot Day, February 19th. Thanks Mark Friesen. You're a good man. I want to give a shout out to all my brothers and sisters that we made this trek with. Yeah, we're such a family now through this, I just can't believe it. So thank you all for coming. And we want our Canada back!
He's going to be speaking again tomorrow. We got him on the list tomorrow. He's a keeper. Has anybody been following Jay? Isn't that amazing when he speaks and we get live coverage? It's incredible. Jim, come on up here, Jim. Jim Aglinsky from Yellowhead. Going to say a few words, and I love your. Let's recognize these buttons here. And I saw him. I said, "Man, you got to be an important guy." He's got I love oil and gas, so he's one of us. Here's Jim.
Welcome to everybody here today, and a special big welcome to our friends from Alberta, the people that drove across the country, our friends from Eastern Canada came to join them, and people that stopped along the way. We're here to see pipelines being built. We're here to see the oil and gas industry be recognized. This government is failing us. It's failing all of us. You know, we got to get rid of Bill C-48, 69, get rid of the carbon tax. Let's make it profitable for Canadians to be competitive with the other world. The other thing we need to really address in this country is why 40% of the oil and gas we use in this country is from third world countries, not from Western Canada, which produces the cleanest oil and gas anywhere in the world. Canada is one country. We're all together from the East Coast to the West Coast. We should be using products developed, produced in this country. We are an energy producing country. We should all work together to build our country, make it stronger. We cannot make it stronger by being divided. Let's stand together. We need pipelines. We need pipelines. Thank you all for coming today.
Please let me speak! I have a speech! Please! Will you hear me?
Right here. I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Okay. Kevin? Come on up, Kevin. Kevin Sorensen from Battle River Pro Foot. It's your crowd. Go ahead, sir.
That would be in Alberta.
Alberta crowd!
That would be in the center of where gas and oil industry was strong. That would be the riding where most farmers have an off-time job working in the oil patch. That would be the riding where everyone understands why we want to defeat Bill C-69. Everyone understands why we want to get rid of a carbon tax that does not help other than more revenue for a government. That's the riding that wants to say thank you for being here today. More and more in and around my constituency, I hear people say, how can we get involved? Is the government listening? Can they ever hear my voice? I can tell you today, they hear your voice. They hear your voice not just today, but through this whole trip that you have taken time away from your jobs, taken time away from your families to come out here because you know the importance of being here. My constituents want to say thank you for doing that. Thank you for helping us have a louder voice because of it. We need pipelines. We need oil and gas. Thank you for the message that you bring. It is a pleasure to meet with you today, and I just wish you all the best and a safe trip when you do go back. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Awesome, thank you very much. Let's hear from a fellow Albertan. Arnold Pearson, MP from Peace River, Westlock. Anybody familiar with this gentleman? You're going to hear from him. Here you go.
Good day, everyone, and thank you all for giving up some of your time and coming to Ottawa. It's so good to have fellow Albertans here in Ottawa. I tell you, there's not enough Albertans in this place. Peace River Pride, right here. Where I come from, we do forestry, farming, and fracking. The 3 Fs I like to call them. Since Justin Trudeau has become the Prime Minister, it's all effed up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for coming here. Are we even allowed to say that anymore, ladies and gentlemen?
Don't go there. Don't get me riled up. I'll be taken out of here.
If you ask me, that political correctness is getting right out of hand.
If I really let loose, they take me out of here in cuffs.
Very nice. So, once again, make lots of noise today. Be heard. We want to hear from you. I know that everybody back home has been texting me all day. Arnold, let's see some pictures from the pipelines or from the pipeline protests. We want to see the Rally for Resources guys here. Let's make some noise. Let's make some noise.
Can I speak? All right, come on up here, you. Come on up here. Just gonna say some words for our French friends. Correct? No. French Quebec, my favorite province. Quebecois. Not really, but we're all friends, correct? Because I run the truckers, and you Quebecers come into my province and take our work. Oh, yeah, we'll sit down and have a beer and talk about that. There you go. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, everyone. First, I will present myself. My name is Alexander Caron. I'm 21 years old. And I'm the one of the admin in North Bay, Ontario, but I'm also working with the Quebecers, and they are here today. Québec, je veux vous entendre!
Right on.
Let's go, Québec! We are here today to show to the government that all the provinces are united together. On est ici aujourd'hui pour montrer au gouvernement qu'on est unis tous ensemble. Because all of us are tired of this government. We are all tired that this isn't working for us. They are just corrupt, and we need to change everything. Il est temps qu'on fasse un changement. Ils sont tous corrompus, nous sommes tannés. Il est temps qu'on change les choses et qu'on reprenne les choses en main. And the only way we can back the power is being a government who will represent the people. And the only way to have a government who really represent the people is by having the people in power. Because only the people know what the people need. That's the only way to have a fair government. And we need to get back the power right now.
Let me ask you, you said you were 21.
Yes,
You're one of the younger guys in here. Why is it so passionate to you at 21? Like most people your age, they're so untuned out to this stuff. Why is it such a passion for you?
And when I saw the article in Alberta and the Yellow Vest movement I started my own movement in Ontario. Because I'm fighting for my future and the future of my children as well. This is my future we're fighting for. On se bat pour notre futur. C'est pour mon futur qu'on se bat, puis le futur de nos enfants puis de nos petits-enfants. Puis nous devons continuer à nous battre jusqu'à la fin, puis nous devons reprendre notre pouvoir immédiatement.
Would you ever run for politics? We need young guys like you, as you're thinking. Would you ever run for politics one day?
I'll run!
Yeah! There you go. Good. Thank you for that. You're a classy guy. Good man. Thank you for that. Good Patriot right there. Let's hear for the 21 years old. He's tomorrow's guys in those crowds. He's the tomorrow's guys. You got your hand up. Is there a reason?
I have a speech. I need to be heard. Please.
No, only if you come and talk to me first and I see your spurts, because I
will show you. I've shown many of the organizers. They all told me they try to get me up there.
Yeah, you can try, but you got to get through me. That's the thing. So, anyway, no problem. We'll get to you. I got some other. All right, we've got a bagpiper, Bethany Bill Zalani. She is called the Pipeline Piper. Let's hear, and then we're going to hear from some veterans. Go ahead, Bethany. All right, we're going to hear from our veterans. Let's hear it for our veterans. There's many veterans around here. That's why we're allowed to stand on Parliament Hill and talk and do what we need to talk. It's free speech, and it's because of our veterans. Here you go. Here, okay. Here you go.
Okay, everybody. I come all the way from Turcotte, Southern Ontario. Okay. Who's cold? Put up your hand. Who's really cold? Put up your hand. Who's really nervous? Put up your hand. Okay, I'm doing this anyway because I don't give up. All right, that's what we're going to do, boys. You're going to hear from our warrior bard. It's Dave Rankin from Montreal. He's a former veteran. He was wounded twice in battle. He died twice in battle.
Woo!
And he's still here fighting for us.
Woo!
And he's got a speech for you that's gonna quiver your bones. You're gonna have goosebumps on your goosebumps when you hear this. Dave, here you go.
My name is Dave Rankin. I'm actually from Cape Breton, although I live in Montreal. Cape Breton. And I'm a construction worker. Okay, I've worked all over this country, and I totally support this movement. Okay, so I'm also a war veteran, and I have a poem for you. It's called "We Will Fight." My official body count is 43. If it were up to me, it would be 0. I'm no hero, but I will stand and fight for what I believe and to relieve people that I know. I will go into enemy fire, no matter how dire the situation. Capitulation is not a question. There is no turning back, and there is no running away. There is no giving up, putting your hands in the air. Don't you dare put down your gun. Every second every minute, every hour of every day. We will fight in every way that we can. And I will stand beside you, and we will fight. Yes, we will fight against things that are not right. We will fight against abuse. We will fight. I know that you're not obtuse. I know that you can see the way things should be. And so we will fight against fascists and sexists and racists and rapists, and we will fight against pedophiles. We will even fight against fashion styles. We will fight for the poor, and we might not win, but we will endure, and we will fight, and we might not win, and that's not the end that I'd be picking. But believe you me, we will go down kicking. We will fight.
We'll unite.
Okay, guys, everybody give a big round of applause for Dave. Everybody thanks Dave. Big top Dave. Okay, everybody. My name's Harold Stewart. My paperwork got lost twice, maybe 3 times. Anyhow, it was Mr. Push-Ups. We were driving to Liverpool for no group in the morning. It was raining. It was foggy. We were on a switchback. We were in the heaviest mind area in Tomas. We're coming out of the platoon house. I did the route map. It was blue for go, red for no. Get the flag? Yeah, okay. So we're driving down the road. The sergeant major was a crusty old bugger from Gagetown. Kept hitting me in the back of the head. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Can't go any faster. We're on a switchback. I'm going to fall off the road and get hit in mine. The clouds parted. A beam of light, honest to God, a beam of light came out of the heavens. It hit 1,000 meters up the road. Gleamed like that. I got a shiver up the back of my back. Something said, watch that. I kept driving. I get up to the corner. I call, where is it? Where is it? I come up to it. 3 meters away from the front of the ABGP, there's a trip line and there's dewdrops on it. Attached to a tree to 680 personnel lines. Would have blew my hand right off. I survived because there's a purpose for me on this earth. There's a purpose for you on this earth. Together we will be stronger. I have one more quote, and then I'm going to pass the mic on to Lisa. She's our special person coming in from Hamilton, Ontario. Hamilton's a strong steel city. Let's see the quote. Yeah, it's difficult. You want to hear a joke?
Sure.
Yeah, you got it, everybody. Okay. Native First Nations chief, Sitting Bull. He said one time, as individual fingers, we can easily be broken, but all together we will make a mighty fist. And it's time, it's time that we honor the treaties for First Nations peoples. We need to honor the treaties. We all live here. It's time we honor the treaties for the First Nations people. We need to work together. We need to build together. And we do need water, yes. But we can build a pipeline and save water at the same time. We have the technology. We can put a rover on Mars. We can put a pipeline through BC with everybody in agreement. What are we going to do, Canada? We're going to do this? What are we going to do it now? Okay, here's Lisa.
All right, I'm a little nervous.
Who's all nervous? Hey, who's nervous?
How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing today? That's better.
We can't hear you.
We're loving it. You're right. We're here. Those are the ones that we're here for. It's the children and the grandchildren, our future. So give them a yell. All right. As you guys know, So my name is Lisa.
Lisa
I'm
from
part of the Veterans Coalition of Canada. I am from Hamilton. And you know, at the beginning of this movement, I started Hamilton Yellow Vests. And I'd like to make a shout out to all my Hamilton Yellow Vesters that are here. Who traveled to come and be here. All right. I am very humbled to have been asked to come and speak to you guys about our upcoming ideas about this new party coming into Canada, the Veterans Coalition Party of Canada. I would like to begin with quotes from the 13th Prime Minister of Canada. He says, I am Canadian. I am free to speak without fear. I am free to worship in my own way. I am free to stand for what I think right. And I am free to oppose what I think wrong. And I'm free to choose who shall govern my country. This is the heritage of freedom I pledge to uphold for myself and for all of mankind. Give it another yell. I want to hear it one more time. I don't think there's ever been a more important time for these words than now. Right now. There is no other time. Our people are hungry. Our people are freezing to death in the streets. While we house migrants, illegals, in the Radisson?
Exactly!
Our homeless should at least get the same as them, should they not? This is unacceptable. And this is not Canadian. Curtis, where are you?
Curtis.
Get over here.
Curtis is homeless. I was in Ottawa.
This gentleman is.
I was in Ottawa, folks. We got here from Port Dover yesterday. We were here. We walked over to Tim Hortons. We got a coffee. This young man, Curtis from Nunavut, was sitting in a snowbank, shivering his blue lips. I said, "You okay?" He says, "I'm cold." I said, "You homeless?" He said, "Yes." I give him my coffee. I said, "I'll be back. I'm going to buy you some soup." He collected back. I brought him a hoodie. I give him a hoodie. I give him a tube. And I give him hope. I bought him some things at the store. I bought him some dinner, and we bought him breakfast this morning. And a steak dinner. He had a steak dinner this morning. Good. Thank you, brother.
That brings me to my next thing. This is a party that's not here to line their pockets, and I'm going to be the first to tell you that I'm not going to line mine. When we become a party, a paid political party for the people, I am donating my first year's salary back to the community, to the people who need it the most, like Curtis. We are going to get rid of this terrible homeless situation we have. We're going to get our veterans, the people who have fought for you, for all the freedoms that we take so for granted daily. We're getting them off the streets as well. We are here for you. We are the party for the people. We need the change, and we will bring it. So, I'm not going to bore you anymore. I give a big shout out to the United We Roll Convoy. Thank you for uniting Canada!
Thank you. We're going to have them back up in a minute. We've got a very distinguished guest showing up. Shannon, would you come up here and do the honors of introducing our keynote speaker? And she loves oil and gas. Here you go, Shannon. Thank you very much.
The Natural Resources Shadow Minister for the Federal Conservative Party, along with so many of our colleagues, conservative colleagues right across the country. Thank you so much for being here, fighting for the best interests of Canada, fighting for pipelines, against the carbon tax, against Bill C-69, against the shipping ban, and for good paying jobs that benefit the entire country. You and your grassroots effort are inspiring to us, and so we're very proud to fight on your behalf and for all of Canada. It's my pleasure to introduce to you a person who's been leading that charge, who's proud of oil and gas workers, who has a plan to get pipelines built, who will stop foreign funded intervention in Canadian resources, and the next Prime Minister of Canada, the Honourable Andrew Scheer.
Where's your hubby?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shannon. I want to thank all my colleagues from the Conservative Party for being here with me, our members of Parliament who have been fighting against this terrible Liberal government that is attacking our energy sector. But most importantly, I want to thank all of you in the United We Roll convoy who have come all the way from Western Canada, Ottawa, to let your voices be heard. It is time that Canada has a Prime Minister that is proud of our energy sector. That doesn't go to Europe to tell his famous friends that he's trying to phase out our oil and gas, but fights for it, fights for markets for you, and fights to get you back to work. I am sick and tired of watching people, chaining themselves to trees and laying down in front of bulldozers, trying to block Canadian energy from reaching markets, but yet day after day, we see tanker after tanker of foreign oil coming into our markets. It's time for that to stop. Conservatives support our energy sector. We want to get pipelines built again. A lot of people ask me, say, well, what's your plan as a government to get pipelines built again? I say, there was a time when government didn't have to build pipelines because the private sector did it with investors' money. Government doesn't need to build pipelines. Government needs to get out of the way to let each and every one of you do it. So come October, we have the power, you have the power to get rid of the biggest single impediment keeping our energy from getting to market. And that is Justin Trudeau. And we can do it by voting him out. And getting a Conservative government that will scrap Bill C-69, the No More Pipeline Bill. That will scrap the carbon tax. On va construire des oléoducs pour déplacer le pétrole de les chemins de fer. We're going to build pipelines to get oil and gas off of the railways. And we will work to achieve a west to east pipeline, getting Western Canadian oil and gas to Eastern Canadian markets so that we don't have to import oil from countries like Saudi Arabia and Algeria and the United States. So that's my message to you. Ça, c'est mon message à tous qui sont aujourd'hui ici. We've got your back. We're fighting for you. We are standing with you. We believe in you. We celebrate what you have done to build this country, benefiting every single region. There isn't a single community in Canada that can't look at some of the benefits that they've gotten from the oil and gas sector. And we will support you. We will help you get back to work. Thanks for your commitment to Canada. Thanks for everything you do each and every day.
Andrew. Our next guest. He wasn't on the list, but he is a popular Ottawan. Pierre Pulliver. Come on up, Pierre. He's a proud favorite, very good supporter of everything Ottawa, including the trucks and all of it. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you very much, fellow Canadians. I'm very proud as a member of Parliament, born and raised in Calgary, Alberta, but transplanted to and proud to represent my now home community in South Island, Ottawa. And I am here today to tell you that the people of Ottawa and the people of Ontario strongly support your right to build pipelines and get world price for our world-class oil. And somebody said, what are we going to do about it? Andrew Scheer is the only federal leader who's actually announced a plan to clear the way for pipelines. That is, use Section 92 of the British North American Act, empowering the federal government to approve pipelines that cross interprovincial borders at every single stage. Scrap C-69, scrap the carbon tax, shorten the hearing process, ban foreign money from the process of approving natural resource products. That is a real, detailed plan that will clear the way for pipelines. Now let me be clear about one thing though. The good news is Canadians support pipelines. That is not just a feel-good statement. It is supported by an overwhelming majority of public opinion data. However, the Prime Minister is going to try and trick them in the next election and pretend that he's trying to get pipelines built. And we know what he'll do. The day after the election, he will make up 1,000 new excuses as to why they can't get done. So our job is to expose him for what he has done and what he is doing. When he took office, there were three of the biggest pipeline companies in the entire world ready to build pipelines in this country. All three of them have left this country because they cannot do business with him. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what will happen if we do not get rid of this Prime Minister. So join with us to elect a pro-pipeline, free market government that will get this country moving again. Thank you very much.
Outstanding. So we got some other politicians that want to speak, especially from the Alberta. Blaine Calkins, come on up here. Red Deer, Macomb. Say a few words. Thank you, sir, for coming out.
Well, thank you, Ron. Thank you, everybody who made the trek across Canada to be here in Ottawa today. This is awesome. A few days ago, myself and Earl Dreeshen, the MP for Red Deer Mountain View, were in Red Deer. We saw many of you off, and I'm glad to see you arrive here so safely. I'm the chair of Alberta Caucus, and I can tell you a number of my Alberta colleagues are here with me, and colleagues from all across Canada from the Conservative Party. We have been fighting tooth and nail against Justin Trudeau and his disastrous policies, Jerry Butts' disastrous policies that have ruined the energy sector in this country. It's no secret that the downturn in the oil prices were a factor, but everywhere around the world, the energy sector is recovered, except here in Canada. That can only mean one thing, that the government of Canada is in the way and is impeding our ability for those good-paying jobs, that tax base, and the ability for us to have oil going from coast to coast in this country, energy independence, and exporting these great products. Canada is a world leader. You guys are amazing at what you do, getting the energy out of the ground. I used to work in the oil patch. Nobody does it cleaner. Nobody does it more ethically. Nobody's got better technology than we do. We should be proud of this industry. We should be exporting our oil. We should be helping others around the world with following our example of getting clean energy out. The world needs more Canada. The world needs more Canadian gas, more Canadian oil. And you are the folks that have come down here to let Justin Trudeau know that he needs to change his mind. And if he doesn't change his mind, we need to change the government. Yes.
Excellent job. That's what we need, the passion. David? Come on up, David. Your dingo from Fort McMurray. Fort McMurray, they had a heck of a year, so here's Mr. David Yerdinga to say a few words. Fort McMurray, Cold Lake. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Ron. And why are we here today?
Yeah, we're here to kill the union!
We're here today because there's a lot of families that are
We're here to protect
in the
our
streets
children!
because they lost their jobs. We're here today to say no to Bill 69 and Bill C-48. We need our pipelines now. We're looking at the social implications in Alberta and right across Canada. There's no hope, no future without the pipelines. So with your support and with your vigorous campaigning against the government who says we need no more pipelines. We need more pipelines. We need a pipeline to the East Coast and we need a pipeline to the West Coast. Only together we shall win. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Kathy, come on up. It's your turn. And whoever else wants to, come on, Kathy. You be careful. Kathy's she's the one that stood up to Mr. Justin Trudeau for hydro rates. Remember at the Peterborough Town Hall? Trudeau, you call him that. I'm not. I'm going to be civil. But she's the one that stood up to Justin Trudeau about hydro rates. She was having a hard time feeding herself, so here she is, all the way from Peterborough.
Wow, this is just like an incredible moment here. I'm honored to be here amongst everybody today. 2 years ago, January 13th, 2017 was the most unlucky Friday the 13th that Justin Trudeau ever got had. I wasn't a politician of any type. I didn't even know about politics. And that's the problem with a lot of people in this country, and I'm sorry to everyone here today. I failed you for the last 50 years because I never voted until this year.
Oh my God!
Please forgive me! It will never happen again, I promise! But I seen a thing on Facebook that said he was coming to town, and if you wanted to ask him something to fix in our country, sign up and come. I did. Like I said earlier today, somebody didn't hear it. I signed up 3 times only to be told the 4th time, sorry, we're full. They only wanted liberals in those town halls. I wasn't meant to be there sitting behind Justin Trudeau that day. He thought I was a liberal that was going to sit up there nice and pretty and smile. When I raised my hand, the man to the left nudged me in the side, and he says, you can't raise your hand up here. And I'm like, I came here to ask him a question. I came here to ask him about hydro. I'm about to lose my house. I'm tired of being tired. I need to speak to Justin. And the lady on the other side, she looked to me and she said, Kathy, you do what your heart tells you to do. There's my hand. And pretty soon, you know, I'm sitting right behind him, and my hand is just up there like this. And one of the volunteers handed me the mic, and well, we all know.
Is history.
The rest is history. 2 years later, here we stand again. The 2nd time. I'm going to put Trudeau back in his place. But I'm not afraid to do that. Because I'm a grandma, and I'm a mother, and we all have something in common here today. We all have cubs to protect. And there's a picture that was missed that day, and I wish somebody caught it. It came right after that infamous hug that got me death threats that he didn't even respond to. There's people that hate him so much that when I accepted a hug from him, they said they wanted to kill me because I didn't spit in his face or slap him or punch him. And I'm like, he's just a man on a stool to me. I'm sorry, I just wanted him to fix Canada. That's all I wanted was him to fix Canada. And I actually got Facebook messages of people that wanted to kill me because I accepted a hug from the Prime Minister. But little did they know, that hug didn't come during the town hall. That hug came after the town hall. After the crowd was cleared up, Justin Trudeau approached me and he looked me in the eye and he said, don't you worry, Kathy. I'm gonna fix Canada. You worry about spoiling those grandkids. And I started to cry like you wouldn't believe. And I thought, I'm a little PSW from Buckhorn, Ontario, who earns $20 an hour. And I took a chance this day, and I made a difference, I thought. Wow, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's listening to me. He's gonna fix our country. Yeah, he fixed it. Boy, was I naive. That was a photo op bombshell. Justin Trudeau never even made a peep. The day Pierre Paul here spoke to them, I was in the Toronto Sun newspaper on that Sunday, and my Facebook was flooded with death threats. I was terrified to leave my home. I didn't sleep for 3 days because I was afraid somebody was going to burn down my house. Media told stories that I was paid $2 million by the Conservative Party to destroy the Liberal government. I was called a conservative plant. And I'm thinking, well, I do like gardening. Okay, conservative plant works for me. And somebody's like, you don't know what that means. I'm like, no, I don't know anything about politics. I don't even know the difference between a liberal and conservative. I'm just a Canadian. And he goes, no, that's not a good thing. You don't want to be a conservative plant. That means you're the dirty deal. They stuck you in there to plant. I'm like, what? The only plants I know about is gardening. I know lots about plants when it comes to gardening, but I didn't know anything about politics that day. Media went haywire. Everybody went haywire on social media. And that came back to me and my family. My children were terrified. I was terrified. I lost my job. I had to sell my home and move. I'm terrified to tell people what town I live in because there's a lot of crazy people in this world, and it only takes one negative story in the media or anywhere else. Don't get me wrong, I love the media. But one person took a story and they twisted it. And that story grew and it grew and it grew to the point where it affected me, my family, my children in another country. And it was tough. It was a very tough time. So coming here today was very difficult because it's been a long 2 years and I missed that house. It was a house I worked so hard for all my whole life. But I have another beautiful home, don't get me wrong. And I'm grateful for the roof over my head and the food in my belly. But I think something very wrong, and I'm like everybody else out here in this crowd. We all will do anything. We'll go to the end of the earth for our babies. Our babies. And I have so many people say, I have to go tomorrow. I got to stand up for my kids. It's my kids' future I'm worried about. And if I don't do something now, they may not have a future to come home to. And I had news media ask me last night who I support and who to vote. And I said, I'm not making that decision for anybody. I said, I want people to say, when they look at their kids and they tuck them in at the end of the night, I voted for the person that's going to keep you the safest 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And if you can't look your child in the eye and know you made the right decision, then you voted for the wrong person. For myself, I stand behind Andrew Scheer 100%. And I'm not here to make a political event, but I'm just saying we need to stand up for Canada.
Thank you. I just want to say a couple things. Those of you that don't know me, I'm the head organizer for the convoy. United We Roll. We can do better than that. United We Roll. Right on. I want to just thank everybody that's come out. It's been a great team to get here. This is what it's all about. And let's keep it respectful, and we're doing good. This is fun. Let's keep having fun.
All right. Thank you. Kathy, you're on your 25th minute of fame, this chick here. Well done, though. All right. All right, folks, our next guest is David Anderson. David Anderson, make your way up here, sir. How are you, sir? David, where are you from?
I'm from the lovely riding of Cypress Hills grasslands, the whole southwestern corner of Saskatchewan. I want to thank you folks for driving right through the middle of the heart of our riding.
Isn't that awesome, eh? To come here to see your fellow patriots. That's awesome. Here you go, sir.
Well, I'll just take a minute here. You folks have been very patient, but Cypress Hills grasslands, of course, a riding that depends on agriculture and it depends on energy. I was just at a gathering in Kindersley 10 days ago. We had 2,000 people out on a 29-degree day to come in and to talk about the fact that they have been building their families, they've been building their businesses around energy, around pipelines, around agriculture in that area, and they are sick and tired of having to lay people off, of having to be pressured because of a government that is not willing to listen to them and does not listen to them. I want to thank you for coming. We need to convince this government to set C-69 aside. We need to convince them to set C-48 aside. There's a lot of other legislation we need to continue to work on as well. But I want to thank you for having the courage to come down here. I want to thank you for the respect that you showed to other Canadians as you come. And we're welcoming you here today. Thank you for taking a stand. This government needs to hear that, and we need to build those pipelines.
Let us vote on those bills.
Who wants to vote on those bills? My goodness.
Power back to the people.
Come on up here, sir.
We want to
This is
vote on
Martin
everything.
Shields. Martin Shields from Bow River, Alberta. Say hello to Martin Shields.
Thank you. What a great sight to see these vehicles up on the hill today. Phenomenal. Really appreciate all that effort. A few weeks ago, and just about 5 days, 500 trucks went through the city of Brooks. Proud to be part of that. Fantastic and well done. We need to get rid of C-69. C-68, the water one. We need to get rid of the Trudeau government because carbon tax has got to go. So with those few words, thank you for your effort. Let's change the government now.
All right. All right. We're looking, yes.
Looking cold?
Yes, just 1 second. You got to get that clear with Glenn if you want to speak. You got it. Yeah, you go see Glenn, and if you want to, if he wants to approve it, then not a problem at all.
Yeah, where do I go?
Glenn is over there, right there. All right, everybody having a great time. Just a reminder, tonight we're going to Rideau Carleton Raceway. If you want to join us for dinner, we have a 2-for-1 buffet special on there. Great time to warm up, meet and greet. We've got 150 seats in the dining room, so we'd like to welcome you to the show. I'm going to have Glenn Carrot come back up here. How are you?
I'm good.
Anybody want to be interviewed? Come on up here. Jay, you want to? Have you spoken yet? Have you spoken yet? All right. Anyway, Glenn Carrot.
What are you shooting for?
All right.
You just sick that young guy on.
Jay, you want to say some more words? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on up here. Jay, tell us about your experience on the as you travel the roads.
I don't know if I can put it into words because it was too emotional actually for everybody that came out. Like, look at the crowd here, like, wow. But yeah, no, doing that convoy, it was an awakening because, like I said, we thought that maybe there's people in our part of the country that are hurting in the west, but as we came through Dryden and Thunder Bay and talked to some of the locals through there and realized that they were in the same shape as we are. Everybody's being shoved down and pushed to the side while all the rest of the stuff's going on, and like, we can't get our resources out there. We're sitting here, you know how much stuff's going to cost with this carbon tax. You're going to be paying that on a loaf of bread in the store. Never mind what your fuel is going to cost and your heating in your homes and everything else. It's ridiculous what's happening to this country. There's no reason why we should all be suffering through this. So we just need to get everything together here and get our resources to market so we can get this country back up on top again where it should be. There's no way this should be happening. So nobody would even have to be here today if it wasn't for what we're going through as a country right now. So let's get this back together and get things going. Have some prosperity in this country again, and we wouldn't have to be rolling a convoy 2,000, 3,000 kilometers across this country. But it's great that everybody come out to support us, and I'm happy. I have to say a shout out to everybody that was on the sides of the roads and the fireworks that were laid out, and every town that knew we were coming through was amazing because we'd stop, we'd pull in, they'd wave us in. They had boxes and truckloads of water and sandwiches, and some lady had cupcakes even with United We Roll on. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Like, the support we had, you can't even put it into words. Like, our lead car was going down and he's up front and he's telling us, okay, there's a crowd of people here and there's a flag there. And there was at times there he was crying. He couldn't even talk on the microphone anymore. It was just unbelievable. And like, that's the whole thing. We had to bring this country together somehow, and I got to thank Glenn Carrot and Haley Weil. They were the push behind this as things started in the beginning, and a few of us joined in, and we had a big convoy in Estevan, where I'm from. Like, there's 10,000 people there, and that town's hurting. We got 2 coal-fired power plants. We have the coal mines, we have the oil fields, and everybody's hurting right now. Like, back when it was busy, there was so many cars driving down. From the people from Alberta were coming. There were so many jobs there, you couldn't even get an apartment. Like, it was $600 to get a room in somebody's house. And now there's vacant houses, there's people suffering, and there's no jobs, and they're having to move out. It's almost like a ghost town. So if we get this carbon tax comes in, we're going to be in trouble because that town's going to be finished. It's like Ken Mailer here says, last person to leave, turn out the lights. So I just want to thank everybody for all the support you've given us through this movement, and it's nice that finally we got somebody to stand up and unite us all as Canadians, and that's all this is about. Is we want to unite Canada from east to west and make this a better country for everybody. So, Ken, you want to say a word?
Yeah, I'm going to introduce him. You introduce him. You introduce him. Terry.
Okay, this is Ken Mailer. He's from Estevan. We're going to let Ken talk first. Okay. Ken Mailer's from Estevan. He's from my hometown too, and we've had a pretty good contingency of trucks that come from that area because we're all hurting, so I'll let Ken take it. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thanks, Jay. I'm in oil and I'm in coal. Oil is dead, coal's going dead, Trudeau's killing our town, Trudeau's killing everything. London, he's tearing everything down. The one lady up here was talking about her kids, grandkids. I have grandkids. I hate to think in the second generation of grandkids coming up, they're not going to be able to afford this anymore. Trudeau talks about the auto plants. He never come out to Saskatchewan and Alberta and said anything that wouldn't be lost 40 to 70,000 oil workers. He's coming after our coal. Our coal in Estevan is roughly 350 coal miners, approximately. We have 2 coal-fired generators. We have another coal plant about 180 miles away. He wants to kill it. This little town of Cornack is called. The only industry there is farming and coal. What are they going to do when both of those are gone? Like Jay said, and I said to him when on the way out here, the last guys leaving in Alberta and the last guys leaving Saskatchewan, turn the damn lights out because we're going to get charged carbon tax and nobody's going to be home. He's also going after everything sacred to people. His way of life, he's never worked a day in it. He's rich oil money. He'll never spend granddaddy's money, and his kids are never going to spend great-granddad's money because he doesn't have to work. So when it comes time to vote, we need to really unite a province, and people are going to get mad when I say this. We need to get, I see there's lots of blue and white flags here. They're the ones that's stopping Energy East.
It's the politicians.
Politicians are dividing us.
Politicians, whatever. They need to get on and get that straightened out in their province like we're trying to straighten out getting our province to go. They're bringing the oil down to Irving and in. They're not getting any of our Western oil. Our Western oil should be a lot more important than oil coming in on tankers from other countries.
Damn right.
And it's time that people start listening to the West, because we are a powerhouse. We were a powerhouse. We will become a powerhouse, and look out if you try to stop us, because you're not going to like the alternatives that are going to come down at you. The West is still power. We are landlocked. These Earth Saver muffins tell us we're going to have global warming. Pretty soon we're not going to need BC. We're not going to need the East Coast, because we're going to go up through Hudson's Bay. That's froze over, and when it gets so warm, we can haul oil straight out of Hudson Bay. We won't need nobody. Then Canada will have to look. But it ain't never going to happen, because Hudson Bay is never going to thaw. So we need you guys to really unite and get the power back in the West that we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kathy Wagenthal, come on up here. Member of Parliament, Yorkton, Melville. You're almost home, aren't you, with all your fellow patriots? Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Folks, thank you. Thank you for the incredible lengths that you've gone to bring attention to the challenges of Canada's oil and gas industry. You are amazing what you've done to get here today. I know from my own experience of coming out here from out west, it takes me 10 hours one way to go home every weekend. That's 20 hours in a weekend that I spend traveling to and from. Why? Because I want to be back home. Because you guys represent what back home is all about. I share your concerns on the current government's legislation and how it's impacting the lives of Canadians and the future health of our country. Clearly, by the support that United We Roll has received from across this country, from Newfoundland right to BC to up north, you have touched and you have motivated the hearts of Canadians across our nation. Well done, well done. I too believe in our charter rights to freedom of expression, and I support your desire to exercise that right and privilege to express yourselves individually and through this well-organized protest in a peaceful manner. Congratulations. As a member of Parliament for Yorkton, Melville, Saskatchewan, I've been working on your behalf in the Conservative caucus and as part of the official opposition to change and stall and in some cases defeat the Liberal government on so many bills that seek to give authority to government over the rights of Canadians to individual, family, and national freedoms. However, I have to say that there's no question that when the opposition has been the most effective in the House of Commons is when we are simply echoing the loud and clear voice of Canadians. And that is what you guys are today. Because of the groundswell across our nation, the government reversed its plans to change our electoral system to a preferential ballot that would have given the Liberals an unending executive power over the Canadian government. That was stopped, and what you're doing today is going to make a difference. Because of the coming together, the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses, the Chambers, rural municipalities, small and medium businesses, including agriculture, agri-foods, manufacturing companies that support our oil industry, Justin Trudeau and Bill Morneau were forced to back down on their tax changes that attacked business owners as tax cheats. And then there's the Liberal attestation on Canada's summer jobs that said that unless you affirmed their values, you wouldn't get Canadian tax dollars. It's terrible, and because of the efforts of so many Canadians like yourself to express their concerns, well, we know what's been happening there. The Liberal government has unilaterally decided that Canadians must comply with their environmental agenda, which includes a punitive carbon tax and the loss of our oil and gas resources competitiveness, I'm freezing up, competitiveness internationally, and constantly they are blocking Canada's opportunities to become self-sufficient in meeting our own oil and gas needs as a nation. Why, you have to ask, would your federal government behave in such a shameful way? They've managed to shut down 3 pipelines through negative messaging, Energy East, Trans Mountain, and they chose to not even consult before shutting down the Northern Gateway and Northern Resource Exploration. So much for wanting to be transparent and hear from Canadians. Rather than encouraging, incentivizing, and applauding Canadian environmental records around the world, their goal appears to be to plunge our country into huge deficits, loss of investment, economic uncertainty, extreme stress for workers, the very workers that you're here supporting today, small businesses, communities, and charities. Their mismanagement also means, of course, that in the midst of facing uncertainty with your jobs, you are also facing higher taxes to pay for their out-of-control spending. Prior to this government coming into power, the NEB was recognized internationally, as Worley Parsons confirmed that Canada maintains the highest level of environmental stringency and compliance, the highest level of regulatory transparency, life cycle analysis, and notably through consultation and collaboration with Indigenous people in the world. We were well appreciated internationally, and now Canada is facing the challenges of trying to get our products to port and to be able to use them ourselves. I am so thankful that you are here today taking the stand that you are, because again, you will make the difference in the House of Commons with your actions today. Well, throughout the course of the last week, and you still need to get home, right? I know that you're passionate about Canada's environment. I know you are, along with farmers, ranchers, trappers, anglers, all our natural resource people, and everyday Canadians who have expressed themselves with you today, right from Newfoundland to BC and to Northern Canada. We all agree that international interference in our energy sector through the guise of concern for the environment is absolutely unacceptable. And instead of being out there as our government protecting our resources from this kind of interference, our Prime Minister is giving funding through the Canada Summer's Jobs to protesters who are fighting against the very reason that you're here today. Andrew Scheer and the Conservative government will remove the carbon tax. We will reverse C-69 and shut down the targeted tanker ban on the West Coast. Targeted because they're letting an awful lot of other tankers in there for a lot of other reasons. But for some reason, we can't get our oil to market. We want to ensure that pipelines ship our resources to new markets and to our own refineries on the East Coast, and that once again, they're reflecting sound management of our Canadian economy while enabling responsible stewardship of our environment. That's what the Conservative Party, the new federal government in 2019, will commit itself to. Again, I just want to say I so support your right to your free expression, and I so support your frustration on the mismanagement of Canada's oil and gas industry by this government. Although the Liberal government has already made itself clear that it knows best on climate change, along with a platitude of other damaging legislative fronts, do not give up on your request to be heard. Knowing the federal election is still months away, it is absolutely crucial, you guys, that Canadians like yourselves continue to share their concerns in a strong voice and in a peaceful manner. Thank you for all of the effort, for the financial hit that you've taken in coming here this week, in taking time away from your jobs and your families. Safe travels home to those you hold dear and to all of those that you're representing today. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. Thank you. We've got two more speakers, and then we're going to wrap it up because it is cold. So we have our lick my thing that doesn't work. Doesn't work. Terry Keller, correct?
That's correct.
Tell me what's your story here. I'm going to let you speak, but I just want to know who you are. Here.
All right, I'm just an average Joe from Saskatchewan, and I came out here and I supported some folks, and I paid for a person to come up here that she is very active in getting her voice out there, but at the last minute she was backing off, so I had a contest on the radio. She had to finish the line of the song to be able to do it. Or anybody, right, was out there, and in seconds she had the lyrics to the song down, and so I said, now, get your act together and get out here. And she was out here, Brenda Stetner from Saskatchewan. Here. 2 thumbs up for her.
Who's got it real close? Who can zoom in right here? Because look at this here. He's got that's Canadian right there. There's a ice cube sticking off his much here. Say some words. I'm a character, there's no doubt. You don't have to be normal to be me, but it helps.
Welcome, folks. I really appreciate to see Canada's effort in this whole thing. And we're standing together. This is united, right? So I'm going to paint you folks a picture. I'm not much of a politician, but I'm going to paint a picture. I'd like you to listen very carefully what I have to say. How many of you are cold out here right now? What do you think it takes to keep your body warm? You need food, and you need to keep your blood flowing. All right, Canada is a body. Picture it. You got the horns and the head on the east, and you got the belly in the middle, and you got the tail end at the other end of the country in the west. And if you look on the globe, it actually shows you a picture of a body. The whole of North America makes one. So, let's see, we need blood. Well, I'd have to say that oil is the lifeblood to this body. The grain in the center is the food for the country. There's fish coming in its mouth on the St. Lawrence. Even got a little bit of covering on the back end with a bunch of trees and mountains on its ass end. All right? Now, you got the indigenous that were here before, for eons before, and they knew how this thing worked. All right? It didn't take a lot of them to make it work, but they worked in harmony. And there'd be skirmishes here and there. You got antibodies within the body fighting each other occasionally because there's a little bit of crack going on, right? That's called a movement. Because what you take in, some has to go out. You follow the picture I'm painting of this body? This body is Canada. If you think about it, and the head is in the east here, well, the east isn't listening. I'm just going to use politicians for it. So the brains of the operation don't know what the hell is going on. The heart is the people. We keep the blood flowing, we keep everything pumping here. We know when we gotta eat, we know when we stay warm. Well, if you don't have the blood, you don't stay warm. You gotta keep it flowing. What do you need to keep the blood flowing? You need blood vessels. And blood vessels are the pipelines to each end of this country. You gotta feed it, you gotta feed the mind, you gotta feed the body. And geez, it's cold up here, you gotta keep it warm. Do you follow the picture I'm painting? It's simple. It's life's blood. The oil was here long before us, and it'll be here long after we're all gone. It is this important to see the reality of the situation. The native people on this country knew this. They had it all down pat. Mother Nature takes care of its own. It really does. And if you stop and listen to it, it'll tell you the story. Between God and Mother Nature, we dwell in between, and we are able to make this body work together. Now, immigration. We're all immigrants. As the body gets older, you gain more knowledge. Each one of us brings more knowledge to the table. We are all cells within this body. It's plain and simple. You don't need a bunch of people with fancy suits telling you what the hell is going on with it. Think for yourselves. Think about how cold you are standing there. Gee, I could use a bite to eat. Well, geez, we got everything we need in this country to make it great. We don't need people on a hill telling us how it's got to be. Think for yourselves. The natives did it for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years. I wasn't here at the time, so I can't tell you when they got here. But I'll tell you how it is now that we've let them down. We've let Mother Nature down. We let ourselves down because we're letting somebody else tell us how to talk. Well, how about this? Fuck you, Trudeau. I speak for Canada. That is a simple picture of how this thing works. There's no more to it than that.
Thank you. All right, one more speaker, and then we're going to, if anybody wants to join us to meet the rally participants and fellow patriots around the country that have come together, we're going to meet at the Rideau Carlton Casino, probably 5:30, 6 o'clock. We have one more speaker now. One announcement. When we leave, we want you to head right to your cars. Just head to your cars. Don't engage with anybody on the streets. There's our protesters out there. The police will make sure you're okay. Don't engage with anybody. It's not worth it. It's been a great day so far. So we'll have our final speaker, John Hex. He's going to say a few words in French. He promised he'd be 2 to 3 minutes.
Je m'attendais pas à ça. Thank you. Hello, Canadian.
Hello.
The Quebec. The Patriots. The Quebec Patriots are here to support you, Canadian. Support you, people. Support you against this government. Against the Liberals. Against Justin Trudeau.
What happened to that?
Ah, il n'y a pas juste Facebook qui s'en va.
2 or 4 players here.
C'est bon, il n'y a pas de problème. Prise 2. Écoute, je m'attendais pas à une grande réaction, là, vu que je suis en français. Là, puis je sais qu'il y a beaucoup de personnes qui parlent en anglais. Mais le Québec est ici aujourd'hui pour supporter les patriotes canadiens. On est à l'époque de l'unité. Même si le Québec a son propre combat, il y a un combat qui se passe à grande échelle, plus grande échelle que ça. Ça ne s'arrête pas nécessairement juste au pipeline. Je sais que beaucoup de monde sont pour des énergies beaucoup plus renouvelables, mais il faut comprendre qu'à quelque part, il y a des provinces qui dépendent de cette économie-là en ce moment, puis il faut faire avec, puis c'est pas la faute de ces gens-là, c'est nos gouvernements qui ont décidé de prioriser cette énergie-là. Donc, oui, on est ici pour les supporter, mais on est ici pour supporter les gens qui se lèvent contre le gouvernement. C'est les gens qui décident. C'est le peuple qui décide. C'est à eux autres à nous écouter et non l'inverse. C'est ça qu'on est venu encourager aujourd'hui. Ce qui s'est passé aujourd'hui, c'est le résultat d'une écœurantite aiguë. C'est le résultat d'une négligence de la part des gouvernements. Puis ça va juste s'amplifier. L'unité qui s'est passée aujourd'hui, ça va prendre de l'ampleur. Les gilets jaunes, je vois que c'est lancé. J'imagine que ça va prendre beaucoup d'ampleur. Le Québec, c'est la même affaire. On a notre combat de notre côté. Ce qui s'en vient, pour moi, ce qui s'en vient, c'est un jour, c'est nous autres qui vont être assis là puis qui vont prendre les décisions. Pouvoir au peuple!
There you go, there you go, there you go. That wraps up our day. We're doing this all over again tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We hope to have a little bit better spot. But again, please, when you go to your car, head right to your cars. Don't engage with anybody. It's not worth it. We've had a very peaceful day because there are protesters out there. If you want to go say hello to the trucks, fine. But please don't engage with anybody. It's not worth it. Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful day. We hope to see you at the Reno Casino tonight, 5:30, 6 o'clock. You can we'll have our yellow vests off. We'll be in warmth and we'll be able to have a nice dinner together. Thank you for coming. God bless you all.